I want to speak now to Shiva Mahbobi, who is a spokeswoman for the Campaign to Free Political Prisoners in Iran, a former Iranian political prisoner herself. Shiva, you must be delighted at what has happened, but perhaps cautious about what comes now.
Absolutely. I mean, we're delighted all in Iran that Khamenei, who can only describe equivalent of Hitler, that finally we got rid of him. And this is a man who is actually responsible for killing hundreds of thousands of people, innocent people in Iran. Of course, it's a complicated situation. It's not as easy as that. If Khamenei goes, it doesn't mean that the system is gone. Obviously, we want to get rid of the whole regime. And now one of the, I would say, worrying issue is the political prisoners and the
and you were a political you were a political prisoner yourself. Tell us what happened to you.
Well, like millions of other people in a very young age, first 12 years old and then 16 years old, being tortured just because I was a student activist, meaning I demanded freedom, I was against hijab and all that. So I got arrested, I got tortured, being in solitary confinement for months. Some of my friends were executed. And this is a story of millions of women, people in Iran. And this is why people are celebrating in different cities in Iran that Khamenei has died.
When you see people not celebrating that, when you see the deputy leader of the Green Party in this country, for example, being at a pro-regime protest, when you see people talking about international law, for example, what do you think, especially when it comes to the liberation that your countrymen and women may experience and hopefully will experience very soon?
Well, first of all, I want to ask them, where were they when the regime, just in the last 2 months, massacred more than 40,000 people? Where were they? Why didn't we see any demonstration saying hands off people in Iran? And now they are on the street and saying hands off Iran. Do they mean that hands off regime in Iran? So what I'm trying to say, humanity needs to not to be selective. You can't defend basically one regime who has been killing people and completely close your eyes. Let me give you an image of what happened not in 47 years, but in just last 2 months. Like kids as young as 13, 12 years old were arrested, tortured, and even as I'm speaking with you, thousands of detainees are on warehouses outside of the cities. They've been raped, tortured, secretly executed. Families are called to give money for the bullets in their kids' body. Otherwise, they're not going to get the body. What's happening right now in Iran, and especially in the last 2 months, it can only be described as another Holocaust. So I'm asking these people, you cannot be, I'm asking, where were they? Where were they when ask people to come and support people in Iran?
Yes. You speak very, very sincerely about all of that. What do you want to happen now? What would be the ideal scenario in the next few days and weeks?
So ideal scenario is for all this government, including the UK government, who has not put IRGC on the list of terrorist organization yet, despite all this, to shut down all the regime's embassy, to expel all the diplomats. What we want, the international pressure on the regime and the support for people in Iran. Right now, tens of thousands of prisoners are in prison. According to international law, all the prisoners must be free during the war. They don't have shelter. They don't give them even bread in some of the prisons, like Evin prison. We get news that, in fact, some of these political prisoners been sent to military, centers so they can be used as human shield. And then tomorrow they will say, well, they got killed under the attack. Right now, families in Iran have no news of their prisoners inside prison, and any minute they could be executed secretly. So we want all this government to get their thing together. And I'm really angry because I can see the hypocrisy. I can see that how they shut their eyes. And and they basically Antonio Guterres come and speak about, well, you should stop attacking Iran. Where were he when he when he sent the celebration message to the Islamic regime on the anniversary of revolution?
Which was absolutely appalling and denigrated any moral authority he had and the UN's moral authority to a great degree. I want to talk to you more, perhaps this week at some point. I do shows, I'm moving to a show in the evening, and I'd like to have a longer interview with you, but just for the moment we're just going to leave it there. But thank you, Shiva Mahbobi, who is a spokeswoman for the Campaign to Free Political Prisoners in Iran.